I never thought I'd be the person telling a story like this. But here I am, hands shaking over the keyboard, trying to understand where everything went wrong. It started on a Thursday. Funny how normal days become the ones that break you. She texted me, "We need to talk tonight." 6 words that make your stomach drop before you even know why. I spent the whole afternoon replaying the last weeks in my head. Were we distant? A little. Busy? Sure. But nothing alarming. Or so I thought. When she walked through the door that evening, she didn't hug me. That was the first sign. Her eyes avoided mine. Second sign. "I'm sorry," she said. Third sign. And possibly the last one I'll ever forget. I asked, "What happened?" My voice cracked like it already knew the answer. She sat down, fingers twisting the sleeve of her sweater. "I did something stupid," she whispered. The air in the room changed. Heavy. Thick. Like the truth had its own gravity. "There's someone else," she finally said. And just like that, the floor disappeared under me. I didn't speak for a full minute. Maybe 2. My mind was a snowstorm of disbelief. It's strange, pain doesn't start immediately. First comes shock, a kind of numbness that feels almost calm. "How long?" I asked. "A few weeks," she said. Weeks, not days. Not a single mistake. Weeks. I felt something inside me fracture quietly, like glass under a slow weight. I asked who he was. I don't know why. Maybe curiosity. Maybe self-torture. "You don't know him," she answered. That somehow made it worse. She said it just happened. But things don't just happen. Texts happen. Decisions happen. Lies happen. I asked why. She said she didn't know. But her silence right after said everything she couldn't. I remember looking at her and realizing she wasn't mine anymore. Even before she confessed, I had already lost her. I wanted to scream, break something, demand explanations. But all I said was, "Okay." That okay was forgiveness. It was defeat. The kind of defeat that settles in your bones. She cried. I didn't. I think I was too stunned to feel anything real. She kept saying, "I didn't mean to hurt you." But intentions don't matter when you're staring at the ruins. I asked if she loved him. She shook her head too quickly. That speed was its own answer. She said she still loved me. But love doesn't look like betrayal. It never has. I walked out onto the balcony to breathe, but the night air only made the pain sharper. The city lights below looked so normal, like the world didn't care that mine was collapsing. And in that moment, for the first time, I wondered if I ever truly knew her at all. She came out to the balcony after a while. "Can we talk?" she asked softly. The irony almost made me laugh. I didn't turn to her. I couldn't. I just said, "You already said everything." She stepped closer, but I felt myself stepping away inside. A quiet retreat she couldn't see. "I ended it," she said. "With him." Like that was supposed to fix anything. A part of me wanted to ask why now, but I already knew the answer. Guilt, not love. I finally looked at her. Her eyes were red, her face pale. She looked like someone who regretted getting caught, not someone who regretted choosing someone else. "Why didn't you just tell me you were unhappy?" I asked. She hesitated, the kind of hesitation that tells you the truth before the words do. "Because I didn't want to lose you," she said. The most twisted sentence I've ever heard. You don't keep someone by betraying them. You just lose them slowly. I walked back inside. The apartment felt different. Like every object had heard her confession and was now looking at me with pity. Her mug on the counter. Her jacket on the chair. Her shoes by the door. Everything normal. Everything ruined. She followed me in. "Please talk to me," she said. Her voice was breaking. Mine already had. "What do you want me to say?" I asked. That it's fine. That I understand. I don't. She reached for my hand, but I pulled mine away. That small movement hurt us both. I made a mistake, she repeated. I laughed bitterly. Mistake. A typo is a mistake. This was a choice. She started crying harder, but I couldn't comfort her. Not this time. Not for this. I sat on the edge of the couch and stared at the floor like it could give me answers. Did you ever think about me? I asked quietly. When you were with him. She nodded, then shook her head, then covered her face, a mess of contradictions. I tried to stop it, she whispered. But you didn't, I said. That's the part I can't get past. She knelt down in front of me. I'll do anything. I'll fix this. I wanted to believe her. God, I did. But trust is a fragile thing. Once shattered, you can sweep up the pieces, but you'll never fit them together without cracks. Do you still want to be with me? I asked. Her pause was microscopic, but I saw it. Yes, she said. But I heard the uncertainty she couldn't hide. That pause was the sound of the relationship dying. Not loudly, quietly, like a candle flickering out. I stood up. She stayed kneeling, like she was afraid I'd walk out and never come back. I need time, I said. It was the only thing I could offer without lying. I'll wait, she said immediately. And maybe she meant it. Maybe she didn't. I no longer trusted my ability to know. I went to the bedroom, closed the door, and finally allowed myself to feel everything at once. Anger, grief, disbelief, and the terrifying fear that this might break me in ways I can't fix. I lay on the bed staring at the ceiling, listening to her quiet sobs through the door. Funny how walls feel thinner when your relationship is breaking. My phone buzzed. A message from a friend. You good? I didn't reply. How do you explain something like this? I kept replaying everything in my head. Every moment that now felt like a lie. Every smile. Every kiss. Every I love you. When did it start? Not the cheating, the distance, the silence, the shift. I remembered the night she came home late, saying she was just tired. She hugged me, but her body felt somewhere else. I remembered asking her if everything was okay. She said yes, but her eyes said no. Maybe I should have seen the signs. But love makes you blind in the most inconvenient ways. My chest felt heavy, like my heart was sitting crooked inside it. I thought about leaving, just packing a bag and walking out. Not forever, just enough to breathe. But this was our home, our life. And suddenly, I didn't know if any of it still belonged to us. I heard her move around the apartment, slow and unsure, like she wasn't sure which spaces she was still allowed to occupy. I closed my eyes and tried to picture a future where we survived this. I couldn't. Trust, once cracked, doesn't heal clean. It leaves scars you feel every time someone gets too close. She knocked on the door softly. Can I come in? I hesitated. Too long, maybe. But I said yes. She entered like the room was sacred ground she didn't deserve to walk on. I don't want to lose you, she said quietly. Her voice was raw. I looked at her, really looked. And for a moment, I saw the girl I fell in love with, afraid, flawed, and human. That only made it hurt more. Why him? I asked. The question burned my throat. She sat beside me, eyes on her hands. He listened, she said. I felt seen. That one sentence struck deeper than the confession itself, because it meant I had failed somewhere too. Not enough to justify her actions, but enough to make me wonder. Why didn't you tell me you felt that way? I asked. Because I didn't want to hurt you, she said. And yet, here we were. The truth is, most relationships don't end with a fight. They end with silence. Unsaid things. Needs ignored for too long. I loved you, she said suddenly. Past tense. It cut like a blade. Do you still? I asked. I don't know why I needed the answer. Maybe hope is a stubborn thing. She opened her mouth and nothing came out. Silence. Heavy. Devastating. In that silence, I realized everything. She didn't know. And uncertainty hurts more than any confession. I stood up slowly, feeling something inside me close, not out of anger, but self-preservation. She watched me, eyes wide, like she could feel the distance growing between us with every breath. Please don't give up on us, she whispered. The word us felt foreign now. Am not giving up, I said. Am trying to understand if there's anything left to save. That sentence broke her. She looked away, shoulders trembling. I hated seeing her cry, but part of me wondered if she had cried like this for him. Do you want to fix this because you love me? I paused, or because you don't want to be the villain? She didn't answer right away. And sometimes silence is louder than truth. I want you, she finally said. But her voice cracked on the last word. It sounded like a plea, not a promise. I felt my throat tighten. Wanting me isn't the same as loving me. She reached for my arm. I do love you. But the words felt thin, like they'd been stretched too many times. I closed my eyes. I wanted to believe her. Belief, after all, was once effortless. Why didn't you stop? I asked again, softer this time. Not the first message. Not the second. Not the night you met him. She swallowed hard. I felt alive. That word hit me like a punch. Alive. Meaning with me, she didn't. And with me. What did you feel? I didn't mean for the question to sound like an accusation, but it did. She hesitated, and that hesitation was its own answer. Comfort, she said finally. Safety, home. Beautiful words, but comfort doesn't compete with thrill. I breathed out slowly. Comfort isn't enough to keep someone faithful, I guess. She shook her head. No, it's not like that. I just lost myself for a while. You didn't lose yourself, I said quietly. You handed yourself to someone else. She flinched like the truth had physical weight. Do you hate me? She asked. I looked at her, and for a moment, I wished I did. It would make this easier. No, I said. I don't hate you. That's the problem. Love makes betrayal hurt. Hate would have made it clean. She wiped her face with shaky hands. I'll do therapy. Couples counseling. Anything. I shook my head. This isn't a broken chair we can glue back together. It's trust. Trust doesn't come back on command. Her lips trembled. Then what do you want? I didn't know. And admitting that felt like another round. I want clarity, I said. I want the truth. And I want to figure out if I can live with what you've done or if it'll haunt us forever. She nodded slowly, like she understood that my heart had become a battlefield she couldn't walk across without stepping on something sharp. Ask me anything, she said. I won't lie. I believed that. Not because she'd earned trust, but because she had nothing left to hide. Did you love him? I asked again, needing an answer that didn't come wrapped in hesitation. She closed her eyes. No. But the way she said it felt like a maybe. Did he love you? Her jaw tightened. I don't know. The truth. She didn't want to know. Because knowing would make everything too real. Did you plan it? I asked. My voice was steady, but inside, everything shook. No, she whispered. It just happened. The most dangerous illusion in the world. Things don't just happen, I said. Doors open because you open them. She looked crushed. But pain doesn't erase choices. Were you with him on that night you told me you were at your friend's place? I asked. Her silence was the answer. I felt my stomach drop. I remembered that night vividly, the way she kissed me goodbye but didn't look me in the eye. Yes, she finally said. Barely audible. I closed my eyes. I felt something inside me splinter in a way that felt final. Did you sleep with him? I asked. I already knew, but I needed her to confirm it. She looked like she was drowning. Yes. The word cut deeper than the confession itself. Short. Brutal. Irreversible. My breath caught in my throat. Even pain has limits, and I felt myself reaching mine. She reached toward me, but I stepped back. Reflexive. Instinctive. Am sorry, she whispered. But apologies don't touch wounds this deep. I turned away, staring at the wall like it could anchor me. It didn't. Did you think about me at all? The question slipped out before I could stop it. She wiped her eyes. I tried not to. That answer destroyed something hope was still protecting. So you shut me out, I said slowly. Not just from your life, but from your thoughts. She nodded weakly. I didn't want to feel guilty. And there it was. The truth beneath the truth. She wasn't protecting me. She was protecting the illusion that made her betrayal easier. You didn't want to feel guilty, I repeated. So you chose not to think about the person you claimed to love. She covered her face, sobbing. But all I felt was a cold, hollow ache, the kind that settles in your bones and whispers that nothing will ever be the same. Again. I sat down on the edge of the bed, feeling like gravity had doubled. Pain has weight, and mine was crushing. She stayed standing, unsure if she was welcome anywhere near me anymore. I wish I could take it back, she whispered. You can't, I said. That's the problem with choices. They stay. She wiped her face again, but the tears kept coming. Meanwhile, I felt unnervingly calm. The kind of calm that comes right after a storm destroys everything. What do you want me to do? She asked. Tell me. I'll do anything. I shook my head. You can't fix this for me. I have to decide if I can live with what you did. Her face crumpled, like she had hoped for a clearer answer, even a harsh one. The uncertainty hurt her. The certainty hurt me. Do you want me to leave for a while? She asked. I thought about it. Her absence might help. Her presence might break me further. I don't know, I said honestly. I'm trying to understand what feels right. She nodded, wiping her cheeks with trembling fingers. I'll give you space. Whatever you need. She moved toward the door, but paused. I never wanted to stop loving you. That sentence stabbed deeper than the confession itself, because it meant she had stopped at least for a while. When did it happen? I asked. When did you start falling out of love with me? She looked down at the floor. I don't know. The three words no one wants to hear. Try, I said. Please. She took a shaky breath. I think it started when we stopped talking about the hard things. When we pretended everything was fine even when it wasn't. Those words echoed in my chest. Because part of me knew she wasn't wrong. That doesn't justify cheating, I said. I know, she whispered. I just felt lonely. And I didn't know how to tell you without hurting you. So you hurt me worse, I said. A pain I never asked for. She nodded, tears falling again. I was selfish. I thought I could handle both worlds. You can't, I said. No one can. She stepped back, leaning against the wall like her legs might give out. I hate myself for it, she said quietly. I stared at her, the guilt, the regret, the fear. None of it erased what she did. You don't get to hate yourself more than you hurt me, I said. That's not how this works. She closed her eyes, nodding slowly, absorbing the truth like it burned. And for the first time, the room felt too small for both of us. Too full of broken things we couldn't name yet. She finally pushed herself off the wall, standing straighter, as if bracing for whatever came next. I'll go to my sister's tonight, she said. Give you space. I didn't answer right away. Part of me wanted her gone. Part of me wanted her to stay and fight for us. Okay, I said eventually. It felt like choosing the lesser of two pains. She walked to the closet to pack a small bag. I watched her quietly, wondering when packing a toothbrush became a symbol of heartbreak. Everything she touched felt like it carried history, our history, and now it all felt tainted. She folded her clothes carefully, like the neatness could somehow make the situation less chaotic. I cleared my throat. Were there more nights? Her hands froze. No. But she didn't turn around. Look at me, I said softly. She did, and I could see it. The hesitation, the guilt, the fear. How many? I asked. My voice was loud, but it was sharp. She swallowed. Two more. The world didn't collapse. I did. I nodded slowly, a bitter numbness spreading through me. 3 nights, 3 betrayals, 3 versions of a truth she tried to hide. Why didn't you tell me earlier? I asked. Because I knew you'd leave, she whispered. You don't protect love by hiding the ways you broke it. She sat on the bed, exhausted, defeated. I was scared. Not of losing you, but of facing what I'd done. And now? I asked. Now I'm terrified, she said. Because this is real. Because you're looking at me like I'm a stranger. I didn't respond. Silence can be a cruelty too. She zipped her bag and stood again, shoulders shaking. It looked like the weight of her actions was finally landing on her. I'll leave the key on the counter, she said quietly. Keep it, I said. Her eyes widened, confused. This isn't about locking you out, I continued. It's about understanding whether you should walk back in. She nodded, a tear rolling down her cheek. Thank you. I didn't say you're welcome. Some words would have felt like lies. She walked toward the door slowly, like each step was an apology. She paused at the doorway. I still love you, she said. The words trembled, fragile, desperate, uncertain. She stepped out into the hallway, closing the door softly behind her. A quiet sound that thundered through my chest. The moment she left, the apartment felt impossibly still. Like even the air didn't know how to move without her in it. I sank onto the couch and exhaled a breath I felt like I'd been holding for hours, maybe days. My phone lit up. Not from her, from no one. And maybe that was worse. I stared at the ceiling, trying to understand where the grief ended and the numbness began. People talk about heartbreak like it's sharp. But this was dull, heavy, suffocating. I replayed everything she said, trying to find a version of the story where this wasn't real. But lies don't bend into truths just because you want them to. I thought about the first time we said I love you. It felt timeless then. Tonight, it felt like something from someone else's life. My chest tightened again. I pressed my palms against my eyes, trying to stop the sting. The worst part wasn't the cheating. It was realizing she had been living a second life, one I never knew existed. How many moments had I laughed while she was lying? How many times did I kiss her while she tasted like guilt? And why didn't I see it? Was I blind, or did I choose not to see? My thoughts kept spiraling, looping through memories like a broken record. Eventually, I stood up, because the silence was getting louder than my heartbeat. I wandered around the apartment aimlessly, touching the back of the chair she always sat in, the mug she always used, the blanket she always stole. Everything hurt, because everything had her fingerprints on it. I stopped in front of the mirror. My face looked different, older, maybe, or just worn out from holding too much pain. What now? I whispered to my reflection. It didn't answer. I grabbed my jacket and stepped onto the balcony. The night was cold, crisp, indifferent. The city stretched out beneath me, breathing, thriving, unaware of my private disaster. I wondered if anyone else in the thousands of windows I could see was having their heart broken tonight. The loneliness wasn't in being alone, it was in being left. I finally went back inside, feeling smaller than I ever had in this space. I sat on the floor, back against the wall, and let myself finally feel everything I'd been holding back. Anger, sorrow, confusion, but most of all, disbelief. Because betrayal doesn't sink in all at once. My phone buzzed. A message from her. I got to my sisters. I'm sorry. I'll give you space. I stared at it for a long time. Not because I didn't know what to respond, but because I didn't know if I should respond at all. Eventually, I typed one word, okay, and hit send. It felt like closing a door that wasn't meant to be reopened, even as part of me still hoped it could be. The first night without her felt unreal, like I was borrowing someone else's loneliness. I tried sleeping. My body refused. The bed felt too big, too cold, too unfamiliar. I kept reaching for her out of habit, not love. And the empty space kept reminding me why she wasn't there. Around 3 a.m., I got up and walked to the kitchen. Grief is always hungriest at night. I poured water, sat at the table, and stared at the dark window. My reflection looked like someone I didn't recognize. I thought about calling her. Not to forgive, just to hear her voice. But I didn't. Boundaries don't work if you break them the moment they hurt. Morning finally came, slow and heavy. I hadn't slept, but my mind felt strangely clearer. It was the clarity that comes after crying, even though I hadn't shed a single tear. I checked my phone. A message from her, sent at 17 a.m. I can't sleep. I keep thinking about you. I didn't reply. Not out of anger, out of self-preservation. I made coffee and took a long shower, trying to wash off the discomfort sitting under my skin. But betrayal doesn't rinse off. It clings even to the parts of you thought were untouchable. Around noon, my best friend called. I didn't want to talk, but I answered anyway. "You sound dead," he said. "I feel worse," I replied. I told him everything. Not the delicate version, the real one, jagged edges and all. He was silent for a long moment. Then he said, "You didn't deserve that." Hearing it from someone else almost broke me. "What are you gonna do?" he asked. "I don't know," I said. It had become my most repeated sentence. After the call, I walked around the apartment again. Each room felt like a memory waiting to ambush me. I thought about the life we built, the slow mornings, the shared meals, the inside jokes, all now haunted by the nights she didn't choose me. I sat down on the bed and finally, after everything, the tears came. Not loud, not dramatic, just quiet, exhausted tears that felt like they'd been waiting for permission. Crying didn't fix anything, but it softened the tightness in my chest. Afterward, I felt strangely lighter. Still broken, but breathing again. I picked up my phone and typed a message to her, then deleted it. Then typed another. Deleted that too. What do you even say to the person who shattered you? The truth, the pain, nothing. Instead, I wrote something simple. "We should talk tomorrow." She replied almost instantly, "Yes, anytime. I'll come over." I stared at her message for a long while, feeling the weight of tomorrow settling on my shoulders because whatever happened next would decide the rest of our story. The next day felt like walking toward a cliff I couldn't see but knew was there. I cleaned the apartment, not for her, but for myself. Chaos outside makes chaos inside louder. She arrived right on time. Same knock, different world. When I opened the door, she looked smaller somehow, like guilt had carved pieces out of her. "Hi," she said, voice soft. It used to make me melt. Today it barely reached me. We sat across from each other at the table. Two people who shared everything except the truth. "Thank you for seeing me," she began. I nodded. Words were hard. "I've been thinking a lot," she said. "About us. About what I did." I let her talk. Sometimes listening hurts more than speaking. "I don't expect you to forgive me," she said. "I just want to be honest. Truly honest, for once." She took a shaky breath. "I ended things with him before I told you. But he didn't take it well." My spine tensed. "What do you mean?" She looked down. "He thought we had something real. He wanted me to leave you. He got angry when I said no." A cold feeling settled in my stomach. Not jealousy, realization. "So you didn't leave him because you missed me," I said slowly. "You left because he pushed you." She closed her eyes. "Yes." One word that changed everything again. "So the choice wasn't love," I said. "It was fear." Her breath hitched. "I'm not proud of it." And that was the twist I hadn't expected. Not that she loved him. Not that she didn't. but that I wasn't the reason she came back. For the first time, the pain loosened its grip and clarity took its place. We broke long before you cheated, I said. You just found someone in the cracks. She nodded, tears falling silently. I wish I had told you earlier. I wish I had run to someone else. 293, I wish that too, I said. The honesty felt like exhaling after months underwater. 294, can we fix this? She asked. There was hope in her voice, fragile, trembling. I looked at her, really looked. At the regret, the fear, the love that was maybe still there and maybe not. We can heal, I said, but not together. The words broke her, but for the first time, they didn't break me. I'll always care about you, I said, but trust isn't something we can rebuild. Not from this, not from what we became. She cried quietly, nodding. Sometimes acceptance is the final act of love. And as she walked out of my life for the last time, I realized the twist wasn't her betrayal.